Siddur Snippet series is generously sponsored by the Saka family and as well by Yellen and Avram Foreman. We're on the bracha of Shema Koleinu, and we last left off. The Shulchan Aruch Siman Kuf Yud Tes tells us the din that one is allowed to add. Not only allowed, one is encouraged and invited to add, to personalize, to individualize the brachas of the Amida, to think in Rifa'inu about those who need a refuah shlema, Baruch Aleinu, those who need parnasa. We mentioned the stipler was makbid. Don't use the same cholim each and every tefillah, because then it's as if you've now concretized anew, you've tried to add on to Anshe Knesset Sagadola. It has to be fluid. It has to change. Some cholim at shachar, some mincha, some marav. Rifa'inu, Baruch Aleinu, Shema Koleinu. Mix it up and change the way that you insert, individualize, and communicate with Hashem. The Mishnah Berurah points out that not only in Shema Koleinu is it a general or generic opportunity to talk about whatever you're davening. Who could have davened today? Shacharis mincha, there's still marav. It's an enormous election day with enormous consequences, and I'm not going to tell you who to vote for or who I voted for, certainly not on this recording, but it's consequential. So whoever you voted for, or couldn't bring yourself to vote for, daven to Hashem, of course, that the result be a positive, the result be what is in the interests of the Jewish people and the world. That's a Shema Koleinu insertion. I don't know Hashiva Shavteinu. I don't know exactly where else you would put it. As Tzemach David, it's part of the process of Geula. Shema Koleinu. In Shema Koleinu, in your own words, in the vernacular, we'll see Yaros Dvash of Yonis and Eibshid says the language you normally speak. That's the hispoidus within the Shmona Esrei opportunity. Shema Koleinu, your own words. Hashem, consequential, big stuff, a lot going on, individually, communally, collectively, internationally, globally, whatever one needs Hashem's help with. But the Mishnah Berurah adds, Mishnah Berurah there in Siman Kuf Yud Tes, Im Yodea She'avar Aveira, if a person knows that they made a mistake that day, they had an indiscretion that day, Yasam Yad Shuva v'Yispal Lakach. So of course, you don't have to wait till next Elul, you don't have to wait till Rosh Hashanah, Seres Yemei Tshuva, Yom Kippur next year. You're allowed to do Tshuva also in Mar Cheshvan. You're allowed to do Tshuva also in Shvat. You're allowed to do Tshuva all the times of the year. And daven, V'imlav Mekatring Alav. And if you say, I'll keep it on the list, I'll add it to the spreadsheet, I'll come back to it next Elul. So then HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a taina on you. And therefore in Shema Koleinu. So the Mishnah Berurah writes, Tov lezvados b'shem b'shamei atfila v'yomer chatasi avisi pashati. Open your siddur and you'll see Shema Koleinu ki ata shomea. Beforehand, there's a little asterisk. If you look on the bottom of the page of most siddurim, there's the nusach, there's a language of vidui, You don't only say vidui in Aseres Yemei Tshuva on Yom Kippur. Any day, a person wasn't as careful as they could have or should have been with their thought, speech, or action. So in Shema Koleinu, a shtickle vidui, a little confession, a little admission, a little confronting that mistake. That's what Shema Koleinu is all about. So not only can we insert whatever's going on in our lives, we should insert a vidui. Person made a mistake, you don't have to wait. Vidui. The Mishnah Berurah says, Tov lezvados chatasi avishti pashati. Spell out, specifically say, Hashem, you know, but I want to admit, I did X, I'm ashamed, I don't want to do it again, I want to improve, I want to grow. Rabbi Yonis and Eibshitz, we won't finish it tonight, but Rabbi Yonis and his Yaros Dvash, Chelik Aleph, Drush Aleph, explains the chashivos, the significance of asking in Shema Koleinu. He says, Yasim kol magamosav l'Hashem l'spal lo akol tzarach afil davar katan or gadol. Don't only daven for big things. Happens to be Taka today. We have a big thing to daven for, like world peace, Geula. We have a big thing to daven for today. But on an average day, when I speak to young people, every child before coming of age, I meet with them, and I have the same conversation with them. I say, now that you're a gadol, a gedola, Hashem is waiting to hear from you. And how does Hashem know that you think He's real? Not just because you say, bring peace to the world, solve the world problems. Because you say, help me do well on my test in school. Help me win my soccer game. Help me get along with my friends. Help me get picked for the student council, the GIA. When you ask Hashem for the practical, real, also seemingly little things, that's the greatest evidence you think Hashem is in charge of everything. Davening is an exercise of emunah and humility. Davening is surrendering and submitting Hashem. In the end of the day, not only the election results, but the results of the soccer game. Kodesh Baruch Hu paskined against the Yankees this year. Pathetic. They didn't even deserve it. Hashem clearly paskined. That was Hashem's decision. That was everything. Big, small, significant, insignificant. Divrei Chol, Divrei Kodesh. It all comes from Hashem. So the smaller, sometimes the person thinks, I shouldn't ask for Kleinigkeiten. I'm going to ask for doing well on a test. I'm going to ask that my Dvar Torah between Mincha and Marav goes smoothly. I'm going to ask that when I go to the airport, I find parking easily. It's Kleinigkeiten. It's small little things, Narishkeit. That's what I'm going to waste my tefillah for. I got to daven. Everyone's sick should be better. I daven for the hostages. I daven for the soldiers. Of course you have to daven for those things. But when we daven for the small things that are our life, says Rabbi Yonason, then we're demonstrating, Hashem, I believe you're in charge not only of the big things, but also of the small things in my life. Lo yivatzer davar mashal yispal bol Hashem. Im tzarich lasos shidduch, im atzma obanav benosav yispal Hashem. Schora yispal Hashem sheyatzlichu v'yalichu b'derech hayashar. Rabbi Yonason says, whatever it is. So who doesn't? Now you wonder, how could it be that you won't have kavanah for a tefillah? Certainly Shema Koleinu. Every Shema Koleinu is different. What you needed at Shacharis this morning, you didn't know you need to daven. Let me not get stuck in the rain, going into Mincha, going into Marav. Let them not run out of my favorite slushy flavor in the lobby at Boca Raton Synagogue. You didn't know Shacharis, what you had to daven for is different than Mincha. Will be different. Some of the results will be coming in. Will be different from Marav. Every tefillah, the Shema Koleinu is different. The Tzad HaShavah, the common denominator of them all. Hashem, you're in charge, you're in control. The big things and the small things. You walk out of every davening with more amunah, more bitachon. You're a bigger person. You're more connected to Hashem. You feel less in charge. You surrender and recognize more He's in charge. And in that way, Shema Koleinu becomes 3 times a day a shir in living with emunah.